And when you come in so open and you are so vulnerable and you welcome people into that space that you like really thought could like give you so much more than what you're used to and they didn't, that
Yeah.
hurt. I'm so very excited to announce this next conversation about processing through hurt. This specific conversation will be the hurt that we've picked up throughout attending, church and things of that sort. This is our process. We hope that you enjoy. Make sure that you like and you comment and you subscribe. We want to know other conversations that you may want to talk about, or if you want to process your healing it through this channel, let's do it. We're open, no judgment zone, raw, authentic conversations. Make sure you share with other people because this is not just about us. We want everybody to experience healing and try to figure out what healing looks like for them. So let's get straight into the conversation. So I seen other people post videos about church hurt, and I was like, you
Mm-hmm.
know what? Like, we just hear church hurt, but we don't hear like the process. Like,
Like
if
church
that hurt,
healing, like
yeah,
actually going to church and getting better.
yeah.
Like,
Yeah, because you
yeah.
have to, like, you can't hold on to that because it will
Hmm.
ultimately keep you away from God. Like, it will.
Yeah.
It will. Hell, I questioned it multiple times. Like, God, this must not be of you, especially when I.
Well, and the truth is, it ain't.
Yeah, yeah,
Not everything that says is of God or of what we serve is truly that. And I think, that is the ultimate truth that I had to recognize and make peace with. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying? So then
yeah,
it didn't become about the people, because if it stayed about the people, I would stay crazy, because
yeah,
people is crazy, including myself. You know what I'm saying? So it
yeah,
is irrational
yeah,
to expect to ever be able to always have nothing bad to say about nobody. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying? Everybody has their own opinions and their own perspectives.
yeah,
And at the end of the day, like, I had to recognize what was best for me and what God was calling me to do. It didn't
yeah,
matter about the people, the history, the family, the theology, the doctrine, the
yeah,
location, the name on the building, the person that's all that stuff became irrelevant. And it just
yeah,
got back to that place of me and God that brought me back to the church in the first place. So it's
yeah,
like, for me, I feel like leaving the church is where I find God, but being in the church is where I show God, if that
yeah,
makes sense. Like, that's where
yeah,
I have the opportunity to show what I've gained with God. And I think a lot of times people go to church expecting church to be what heals them. But the
yeah,
truth of the matter is, like, when you really start reading your word, like, that healing only comes from the spirit, and you have to be an active participant in it. Like,
yeah,
going and sitting in the pew every Sunday and hearing a sermon be preached, paying your tithes and offerings, eating the juice and the crackers, or the wine and the bread, or the blood and the body,
The
singing
church
your
hurt.
what's the other 5 acts? Girl, whatever. Okay. Doing that every Sunday, going to Bible class every time the building is open. You can do all those things and still be so far from God, so far from what God is calling you to do, so far
Yeah,
from godly people. Like, and it's crazy because you
yeah,
like you go there because God is our source, our healer. You know what I'm saying? So we're here to live life and to seek God. Like, we should have been just living in relationship, and the truth is that was rectified. So really, that's what we're supposed to be doing, enjoying that Adam and Eve type walking in a garden relationship. But we're
yeah,
so busy caught up in, like, people. And I'll say that even for myself, like, it was inevitable for me. And what I was talking to because Aaron don't go to church, and he ain't going.
yeah,
Like, but he grew up in church. Like, his family that raised him had a church attached to their house, girl. So, like, he was
yeah,
one of the people, like, where it was every day you wake up, you Bible study, which was similar to me. So we both grew up in church, but it came to a point for both of us where we had to recognize, like, hold on. First of all, the first issue for us personally is what I'm reading and what I'm experiencing is not the same thing. And call me stupid or call me smart, but I learned reading comprehension in school. And
Yeah.
because I learned reading comprehension, I learned how to research my text and look up definitions and understand what the original, you know what I'm saying? So there's like a different level of education within our generation that I think didn't allow us to just sit there and not, like, no disrespect to the older generation, but be sheep. Like, and I
Yeah.
know they preach that we got to be sheep because we got a good shepherd.
Yeah.
I understand.
Oof. Oof.
But it's a problem when you was being a good sheep to the shepherd that's stealing you from the good shepherd.
That part. And that, but you made a really, really, really good point about when we come into the church and we're expecting people, like we're coming there for the people. Like when I first start going to church, one, I was amazed, like whatever happened to my mom for her to change her lifestyle, like
Mm-hmm.
I
You
want
like,
that
I need some of that.
like I don't know what it is, but like I seen it because her
Mm-hmm.
life did a complete 360. Like
Yep.
I was seeing her a certain type of way. And let me backtrack. A woman who I looked up to, because I want
Yeah.
to not use that title so loosely as saying like
Right.
my mom, like so a woman that I looked up to my
Mm-hmm.
whole entire life. And so when I came, I was this hurt person, this vulnerable person. I just was
Mm-hmm.
like, what? I got all these people like loving me, and
Yeah.
oh, this is totally different from what I used to. Like this, God, I want this. Like this is what I want.
Mm-hmm.
And what I realized is I came completely open and expecting people to be like a certain type of way, like opposite of what I was used to, like not
Yeah.
gossiping, not showing hate, not steering me the wrong way, like not competitive. Like there was just this expectation that I
Yep.
had, like they're gonna love me as much as God loved me, no matter what.
Yep.
And when you come in so open and you are so vulnerable and you welcome people into that space that you like really thought could like give you so much more than what you're used to, and they didn't, that
Yeah.
hurt because
Yeah.
it was a lot for me. It was like, hold on, I'm calling you like mother, father, sister, brother, like this is
Yeah.
me.
I'm
And
seeing you more than my own people. I'm
yeah,
seeing you more than the people that I made my people.
yeah, like, and I'm here, and like that's a different type of hurt. Like it hurts when you have like your mom or your dad or someone else like hurt you, all these people that you
Mm-hmm.
trust, but to then come into a space where you're like, these are godly people,
Yeah.
and they're at the end of the day gonna give me love. They may not give me nothing else, but I'm expecting love. And to not receive that, or
Yeah.
to in my mind get love that really wasn't love, and you basically tricked me, is what I
Mm-hmm.
felt like. You took advantage of my weakness and you
Yep.
used it for your own benefit, and that hurts. Like that adds
Ooh-wee.
on top of the hurt, and now it has you confused because it's like you said, I'm going to Bible study, I'm going to
I'm doing everything you told me I needed to do to stay out of hell, and I'm still in it.
I'm paying tithes. I'm doing everything that you said, and it's pushing me back into this darker, like in a deeper hole.
Deeper
And it's
hole.
like, God, what is this? And I did not, and this was where I had to take accountability. I never, not one time, asked God what He wanted me to do, but
Yeah.
because I was so attached to having a family and wanting, like thinking that they had the formula for me to heal and be my
Yeah.
best person, I chased that instead of chasing the relationship of God. And
Yeah.
that is what put me in a space to be hurt, because
Yeah.
men will hurt you. That was the most hurtful thing. But what I realized throughout all of it is,
Mm-hmm.
um there was a lot that I needed to work on, and making
Yeah.
sure that I like figured out why I was attaching to people so easily, why I did
Yep.
think that, these people were my family when they
Mm-hmm.
really were just like they were their own people with their own
Yeah.
problems, with their own purpose, with their own, like
Yeah.
that was theirs. And so I had to do a self-evaluation. And I remember this transition of me moving.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, God, I don't know what you want me to do. I don't know where you want me to go. I'm confused, but I
Mm-hmm.
trust you. And I learned to do that throughout my time of being in the church, because I'm like, I need you. What do you want me to be a part of? And then I
Yeah.
start leaving ministries because it was like, God was like, no, not
Right.
there,
Not
not
there.
there, not
Not
there.
there.
And
Not anywhere there.
yeah, like that's not, because it's not doing anything for you. It's just
Mm-hmm.
taking parts of you away, and it's bringing you further and further away from me. And
Yeah.
that is not what I want for you. And so when
Right.
I did decide, I was like, God, when do you want me to tell leadership? When do you want me to tell everybody? Like, and it was such a silent process that it was like, okay, when? And finally, I remember having the conversation of,
On your way.
like, I'm moving, I'm moving. And I think the most hurtful thing was the response of saying, I would rather hear that you're pregnant than you move into a different state. And in that moment,
Comical.
I was like, okay.
Oh, wait, what the spirit just downloaded on me, girl.
I said, I said, okay. Well, I was just okay. There was nothing that could come out at that moment. It just was like
Mm-mm.
every word that I wanted to say, God was like, nope, nope, no, that's
Can't
it.
say nothing.
Like, there's what's understood does not have to be explained. And what I seen before, what God had already showed me was like, this is going to be a process, and this is what's going to happen, and you have
Yep.
to be prepared for it. And at first I was like, no, I'm in my head. But exactly what he showed was going to happen is what was happening. People were not happy, people were not supportive, but I felt good. I felt complete
Mm-hmm.
the whole time that I was driving. Randomly, when I was like, I'm doing the wrong thing and I wanted to turn around, I'll see a
Mm-hmm.
cross in the middle of nowhere. Like, it wasn't attached to no building, it wasn't
Yeah.
attached to nothing. It was in the middle of
And
trees.
just be there.
And what I felt like, what I interpreted that as, is God is like, I'm with you throughout this process, and
Mm-hmm.
I don't have you. You don't have to see me or have a relationship with me by being
Yeah.
attached to a person, place, or thing. Like,
Right.
you can have your own relationship with me by just standing alone, if that's what you
Yeah.
do during this time. And that was like really, really big for me, because it was like, yo, I thought that I like you were gonna be upset at me because like I was
Nah.
in this church, like, and I beat myself up. But God has revealed to me over and over again, and I've been able to grow within Him. I've been able to, start my process of healing, and I'm really,
Yeah.
really thankful for it. But I learned a lot, and
Yeah.
I heard it a lot. Um, but I'm also now in a space where it's like, I get it. I get
Right.
that that's where these people are, and I still love them. To love people who are
Mm-hmm.
unlovable is
Yeah.
hard, but that's
Well,
a
shoot.
responsibility.
Look here. I can't say that I love people who are
Yeah,
unlovable, but I have the capacity to show love
yeah,
to people that I deem don't necessarily need it. And
yeah,
I feel like for me, I've been like I grew up in the church, right? So I've been in this cycle a long time.
yeah,
So breaking free for me has been a long process. And like when we met, like you saw me at I was in two cycles. I was in the one with the religion, and then I'm in the one with the baby daddies. They was smacked, like I was like this. But outside, I'm like, how can I help you?
yeah,
Thank you.
yeah.
Have a great day.
You were
What you
managing.
say to me? But it showed at times, but
Yeah,
I had the ability to keep my composure because, like I said, it's almost like my upbringing conditioned me to function during trauma. And
yeah,
it's like for me, I it was deeper than just me because I'm like, this is basically my whole generation. I wanted to understand the root. Like you know me, I'm a dig till I find the problem, and I'm
yeah,
gonna figure out the problem because the only way to get it back healthy is to cut the problem out.
yeah,
So it's like pruning, all that different stuff. And so for me, I wanted to understand like what is the root of this problem, and what is God ultimately uprooting from like. And I consider the it's okay. So right now I'm in a space where it's very hard for me to call myself a Christian or align myself with any type of like religion in particular, because I feel like to participate in that in any form is to disrespect my relationship with God, because I understand how big God truly is. Like, I don't even like saying he or she no more. I barely like saying God. If I could just have a space, a pause, and people understood, I would really do that, because I don't want to put no limits, no caps, no boxes. Like, I'm like, hey, whatever you want to do. So like for me, it was like I grew up in Church of Christ. So I don't have a lot of experience with other denominations and stuff like that, but I do have some experience because I've always been a seeker. So like even growing up, I would ask questions that would get me in trouble in Bible class. I would be the one saying, but if, and they hate, like, it was problematic. So in my childhood church, that was where I really first experienced, I would say, church congregation hurt. And I could like point out all these different stories about all these different people, but when it, like, for me, that was just like little stuff, you know what I'm saying? And what I really realized is we experience hurt in everything, like at work, in our families, you know what I'm saying? So essentially I like to get to like, what is the root of what hurts me, you know what I'm saying? Or what hurts others, or what's hurting a generation. So I looked at like how we grew up in the church, and not just from us, but like previous generations. There was an example. The first time I got hurt, it wasn't even about me. There was a young lady in our congregation who had got pregnant out of wedlock, and I loved her. Like, she was so cool. She was one of them older, girls at the church that was just beautiful. She was so pretty. You looked up to her, and it's like, dang, she's cool. And she ain't come every Sunday, so then she was extra cool, because it's like she probably live on the edge, man. She wanted, so she ended up getting pregnant, and the next Sunday, well, that week, everybody found out she got pregnant. Because, once one person once your grandma come and tell one person, then everybody know your business. And normally the person she confides in has the tendency to be at the top of the little leadership chain, but that's neither here nor there. You know what I'm saying? So once that call is made, everybody now knows. So everybody knew. We go to church the next Sunday, and we're getting a sermon on premarital sex, how women get pregnant out of wedlock. We get in the sermon on, you know what I'm saying? Like, and it's just and everybody could feel it. She wasn't even there. First of all, she wasn't even there to hear the sermon. Thank God. But like, everybody knew who it was about. Everybody knew what it was about. And furthermore, there was never any condemnation on the male, like on the man. It was always something about females or women doing this or being modest, and you know what I'm saying? So I'm like, okay, first of all, like, that was tacky. And I'm young when this is happening. I think I'm probably like maybe like 9, gotta be like 9 at the oldest, because we were in maybe like 10 or 11. So like I'm young, and I'm sitting here like, this is ridiculous. And so then what further caused me more hurt, and this was God preparing me this whole time, right? Because this is when I'm young. Now, when I tell you about when they hurt me personally, you're gonna be like, okay. And this is how I'm starting to realize how God will use these spaces. So like, even if I feel like I should have never been in a place, I know that God used that space to teach me something. You know what I'm saying? Because I don't feel like I should have ever been in, quote unquote, the church, but I know who I belong to. You know what I'm saying? Like, the places that I've been, I don't think I should have been there, because they were not invested in my healing and me becoming who God purposed me to be. They was invested in making sure I was a good member and paid my tithes and represented the church well. You know what I'm saying? So it was like, they did that. And then the next week we found out that not just the elder, but the pastor son, both of them dudes had babies on the way. And the pastor's son was having twins. So I'm waiting on the sermon, girl. I'm like, yeah, they finna get it now. It's even see. Do you know that to this day, there was never any introduction of these spare children? They get all the love from their grandparents and everything, but they don't come to church.
Yeah.
They, they,
Yeah.
I, there's no like, the church would never know they existed unless you knew these people outside in their home life, which I happen to because they were my godparents or whatever. You know what I'm saying? So like I was privileged to more information, which a lot of times ends up happening in church. Certain groups are privileged to more information than others about the truth of who people really are. And that's the first problem. Because
Yeah.
if transparency is not from the top to the bottom, there's never going to be any healing taking place for anybody. You know what I'm saying? Like, because that's what's necessary. I need to know what you've been through, what you're struggling with, like how you overcome, because then that helps me. That's the whole purpose of us coming to this place, not to
Yeah.
hear about going to hell, not to be repeating the same traditional customs as the people that worship pre-Christianity or
Yeah.
the pagans or the Catholics, but we ain't gonna talk about all that because then
Yeah.
y'all gonna get mad and be like, we non-denominational. Yeah,
Yeah.
whatever. Okay. Save that for the other people. I don't want to hear
Yeah.
it. Whatever. But so that was like the first time, because there was never any condemnation for leadership for their children. But if you were a regular quote unquote member, then you were always exposed. You know what I'm saying? And so that was my first experience, and that happened like when I was younger. And then once I got pregnant with Camden, so I was in the church my whole life until I got pregnant with Camden. And I got pregnant with Camden when I was like 19. So for 19 years, I was there every Sunday. My mom used to wake us up every morning at 5 a.m. for Bible class before going to school, getting on
Yeah.
the bus, getting dressed, all that. We had our own song books at home. Okay. So I was faithful, like
Okay.
faithful.